When it comes to Bitcoin-backed lending, we have a massive problem in this market. It is embarrassing that nobody has fixed it yet. Bitcoin is a multi-trillion-dollar asset, and people have to sell it just to pay their rent, or fund their business, or escape a surprise dental bill that feels like it was priced by the Federal Reserve. And that is insane. On one side, you have Bitcoin holders sitting on life-changing assets who only need temporary liquidity. They don't want to trigger taxes, they don't want to time the market, and they definitely don't want to hand their coins to some exchange that collapses every other news cycle. They simply need cash without destroying their long-term Bitcoin position. And there is no clean, safe, and transparent way to do that at scale. It is a disaster. And then on the other hand, you have investors out there that are being annihilated by inflation like it's a slow motion rug pull. These people are begging for a place to earn stable returns that are not structured like a casino or wrapped in 30 pages of banking bureaucracy. And again, there is no direct, trust-minimized way to match them with borrowers in a way that actually works for both sides. This gap should not exist when it comes to Bitcoin-backed lending. This friction should not exist. This inefficiency should not exist. The demand out there is massive, the incentives are perfectly aligned, and the legacy system refuses to solve it because it lives on gatekeeping. But Firefish steps in and fixes the entire problem with one simple idea: connect Bitcoin holders who need liquidity with investors who want yield, and do it transparently, directly, and on-chain. No banks, no custodians, no permission slips, just a real market solving a real problem that should have been solved 10 years ago. So here's where Firefish completely changes the game. Most platforms in this space, they pretend to be lending solutions, but they are actually centralized black boxes that take your Bitcoin, they vanish into the shadows, and then they hope that you don't ask too many questions. Firefish is nothing like that. Firefish is a real open marketplace. Borrowers and lenders, they meet directly, they negotiate directly, and then they transact directly. There is no middleman redistributing risk behind the scenes. There's no corporate treasury flipping your Bitcoin like it's a hedge fund. And there's no platform pretending to be your best friend while silently rehypothecating your future away. Borrowers, they use your Bitcoin as collateral to access cash without selling, and that alone solves a decades-long headache. On the other side, lenders finally get access to secure, attractive yield without being trapped in some institutional maze that requires 14 passwords, 2 approval committees, and a blood sample. And the best part is, Firefish is non-custodial, meaning the platform never touches your Bitcoin ever. It is locked on-chain in a transparent escrow address that anyone can verify, no trust required, no counterparty anxiety, no praying that people running the platform don't suddenly develop a Cayman Islands retirement plan. Firefish is a true free market lending platform where supply and demand set the interest rate, not a bank, not a committee, and not some opaque algorithm pretending to be neutral. Firefish is simple, it is direct, it is transparent, and it is built for people who actually understand why Bitcoin matters. And here is the part that Bitcoiners absolutely love. Borrowing on Firefish is designed for people who understand Bitcoin, not for people who enjoy filling out forms in fluorescent lit bank lobbies. If you need liquidity, you simply lock your Bitcoin as collateral. That's it. There's no selling, there's no taxable event, there is no sacrificing your long-term upside because your car decided to explode at the wrong time. Your Bitcoin stays yours. It just sits on a secure on-chain escrow address waiting for you to repay the loan. And then you get to choose what you borrow. If it's Swiss francs or USD stablecoins, you pick the term, you negotiate the interest rate directly with the lenders, and then you avoid every ridiculous hoop that traditional finance makes you jump through. There are no credit checks, there are no middlemen questioning your life decisions, There are no underwriting departments asking for your high school transcript for some reason. If you have Bitcoin, you qualify for Firefish, full stop. And Firefish keeps it elegantly simple. Loans are bullet loans, which means that you pay one single lump sum at the end. There is no monthly payment schedule that takes a stab at you every 30 days. There is no amortization table that looks like a CIA document. You borrow, you use the money, and then you pay it back at the end. It's that simple. Firefish allows borrowing that is built for actual humans who value speed, clarity, and sovereignty over their own assets. So let's talk about the lenders real quick, because these are the people sitting on cash watching inflation eat away at their savings like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Firefish finally gives them something better to do than suffer quietly. The lenders, they get to browse the loan requests from the real Bitcoin holders. No mystery boxes, no pooled risk sludge, no hidden leverage, just transparent deals that they can inspect, fund, and earn yield from. You pick the loan that you like, you evaluate the terms, you decide the interest rate that you are willing to accept. This is a genuine marketplace, not a bank pretending that it invented capitalism. Once you fund a loan, your money goes directly to the borrower. It doesn't go through Firefish. It does not go through some accountant in Switzerland. Direct bank transfer or stablecoin, clean, simple, verifiable. And your risk is secured by over-collateralized Bitcoin that sits on chain where everyone can see it. You're just not hoping the borrower is a nice person with good vibes. You are lending against a real, transparent, locked asset that cannot be moved or rehypothecated. Lenders, they finally get what they've been begging for: strong yields, real collateral, and no dependence on the traditional financial circus. This is how lending should have always worked. Firefish is built on security and over-collateralization. This is where Firefish separates itself from every platform that's ever blown up and left users staring at bankruptcy filings. Firefish was engineered with one priority: protecting both sides with uncompromising security. Every single loan is over-collateralized by design, typically at least 2 times the repayment amount. That means that the lenders are covered even if the market decides to have a mood swing. The borrowers, they're protected because their collateral is transparent, it's verifiable, and not touched by a single third party. And now here's the part that shocks people the first time that they hear it: Firefish never holds your Bitcoin. Not for 1 second. Your BTC goes into a dedicated on-chain escrow address, visible to everyone and controlled by no one except for the rules of the smart contract. No custodian, no platform wallet, no rehypothecation, no trust us bro risk. If you repay your loan, the Bitcoin flows right back to you. If you default, it goes to the liquidator. There is no scenario where someone at a centralized entity wakes up and decides to start gambling with your collateral. This is transparency, discipline, and security at a level that the legacy financial system cannot even imitate. Firefish didn't just remove the counterparty risk, it vaporized it. At the end of the day, Firefish delivers something the entire market has been begging for, something so obvious that it is insane it didn't exist until now. The borrowers, they finally get to live off their Bitcoin without selling it. There's no taxes triggered. There's no long-term upside sacrificed. No panic decisions just because life throws you a curveball sometimes. You keep your Bitcoin, you keep your position, and you unlock the liquidity that you need. For lenders, you finally get a way to earn attractive, secured returns without walking into the traditional financial casino. They fund real loans backed by real collateral with real transparency. There's no illusions or hidden leverage. There's no sorry, withdrawals are paused nonsense, just clean, hard, verifiable on-chain security. All of this happens without middlemen, no banks deciding who gets access to credit, no custodians playing games with your assets, no institutions gatekeeping opportunities that should be available to everybody. Firefish creates a true marketplace where borrowers and lenders, they meet directly, negotiate directly, and benefit together directly. This fixes the inefficiencies in Bitcoin-backed lending, it removes all of the friction, and gives a way that both sides can win without trusting anyone except for math. If you want to unlock the real value of your Bitcoin or finally put your cash to productive work, this is the platform to do it. Firefish is built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners, so start your first deal today at firefish.io.